I mean, it's gonna sound harsh, but it almost looks like they just wrapped her up in a tablecloth that they found at a random dim sum restaurant and then called it a day. Hi there, my name is Tessa, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the outfits at the 83rd Annual Golden Globes. As always, this is just my opinion, so please don't take it too seriously if we happen to disagree. Also, this was an incredibly star-studded event, so try as I might, I won't be able to talk about every single person who attended. So my apologies if I missed your favorite celebrity. We're going to start off with Miley Cyrus in Saint Laurent. I'll be honest, I don't really love seeing sunglasses on the red carpet. It's just a little too blasé for me. In Miley's case, I feel like they're way too big, like something that you would wear to the beach, which doesn't really match the tone of the dress. As for the dress, I can kind of get into this sort of ugly 80s chic kind of thing that they're going for. It's very dynasty, but I do feel like she needed to put her hair up, because otherwise there's just way too much going on and you can't really appreciate the sleeves. Next is Ariana Grande in Vivienne Westwood. I'm glad to see her return to her brunette roots because that honey blonde was really washing her out. But I'm just not sure how I feel about the ponytail. I know that it's her signature, but I feel like I really would have loved to have seen something with more height and volume to tie into the sort of historical influences that this dress has. I also think that this would have been a good time for a gothic lip, just because it would have been very different from her usual glam. I'm a sucker for Vivienne Westwood in general, so I'm into this dress as a whole. I'm just not really sure about the fabric. The texture and sheen don't really have the va-va-voom that I would have expected for this kind of event. Next is Aimee Lou Wood, also in Vivienne Westwood. I'm surprised that Vivienne Westwood would send two different actresses down the red carpet in such similar dresses, but if I'm being honest, I think I prefer Aimee's to Ariana's. I like how there's a bit more structure to the skirt and how the floral print adds a touch of romance and traditional femininity. I also think that the glam reads as a bit more princessy, which kind of fits the overall vibe better. Next is Ana de Armas in Louis Vuitton. She's a pretty girl in a pretty dress, but that's about it. There just isn't any personality, and I feel like any actress could have worn this on any red carpet. Next is Mia Goth in Dior. There were a lot of black dresses on this red carpet, huh? At first glance, this is a very expected glamour moment, but I like this sort of exaggerated cowl neck with the peekaboo sparkles. It gives the dress a unique silhouette, but without being distracting. Next is Charli XCX in Saint Laurent. I love this. The dress itself is very classic and elegant, but the kind of furry bodice adds just the right amount of punk factor. I also think that they've styled it in a really smart way with the very dainty accessories and the softer hairstyle. It still feels very Charli, but appropriate for this event. Next is Emma Stone in Louis Vuitton. Chase Infiniti just wore a butter yellow Louis Vuitton number to the Critics' Choice Awards last week, and I'll be honest, I feel like Emma's version really pales in comparison. You've probably heard me say in the past that I don't really love two-piece sets on the red carpet since they can usually read as very casual, and I definitely feel like that's what's happening here. Like, this is something that I would wear to grab drinks on the beach. I also feel like the balance between the beaded skirt and the structured bodice is totally off. Like, neither of them are interesting enough to catch your attention, so your eye is just going all over the place. Next is Rose Byrne in Chanel. It's such a relief to see her in something good. Like, she actually looks the part of a Golden Globe winner. I love the color, I think the fit is great, and it feels mature, but not old. Next is Amanda Seyfried in Versace. Definitely more of an elegant leading lady look than the sort of bow-covered dresses that she's been wearing the last few months. I like the draping and the shape of the dress, and I'm always a sucker for a shawl. I just wish that it had been more billowy instead of being all tangled up in her arms. Once again, I'm not sure about the hair. Something longer and sultrier might have just been a little bit more fun and taken this in a sort of Aphrodite direction as opposed to 1950s cosplay. Next is Selena Gomez in Chanel. She's also been going in an old Hollywood direction with the glam, but I think they might have overcommitted when it came to the hair. It's almost a little too retro, if you know what I mean. But overall, not terrible. Next is Colman Domingo in Valentino. For Colman, this is actually a pretty reserved look, but as always when he's concerned, the tailoring is impeccable. It's still better than what most men in Hollywood wear on the red carpet, but I am missing his signature flair for drama, like maybe a fun shoe or a touch more bling. Next is Elle Fanning in Gucci. She's the female version of Colman Domingo in that this is a very tame look for her, but technically still very beautiful. I just would have loved to see a bit more whimsy because they've been very reserved this red carpet season so far. Next is Jessie Buckley in Dior. I'm so annoyed because she's been absolutely sweeping award season, but she hasn't worn a single good thing while doing it. I like the idea of this sort of ultra-modern chinoiserie cocktail dress, but the fit really isn't doing it for me. It's way too loose, especially in the stomach and hips area. I mean, it's gonna sound harsh, but it almost looks like they just wrapped her up in a tablecloth that they found at a random dim sum restaurant and then called it a day. Next is Kate Hudson in Armani Privé. Now this is how a movie star dresses. The fit and the color of the dress are absolutely stunning. And the fringe and the beaded neckline add just the right amount of bling. They didn't do too much with the glam, which I think was the right choice considering how much of a statement this dress makes. Like, you really don't have to do that much. Next is Zoey Deutch in Prada. The very loose silhouette and dropped waist is very 1920s, and even though it would look horrible on me, I love it on her. I also think it's so different from what everyone else wore, which really makes her stand out in a good way. I just wish it had been a more fun color. Next is Bella Ramsey in Prada. I think that this is such a brilliant commentary on Bella's gender identity and how they're seen by the public. It's a classic black suit, something that men usually wear on the red carpet, but it's literally wrapped in a giant pink bow, which has very feminine connotations. It's just genius. I also love how comfortable and confident they look while wearing it, so I really can't bring myself to say anything bad about it. Next is Ayo Edebiri in Chanel. Ayo's style is very cute and quirky, and I feel like this is definitely in line with that. It's the sort of dress that could very easily look dowdy and frumpy and old-fashioned on somebody else, but I feel like she makes it look very hip and wearable. My only qualm is the sort of Jackie Kennedy hairstyle. I think something modern would have been a bit more fun. Next is Wunmi Mosaku in Matthew Reisman. Thank God. I was in desperate need of some color, and wow, what a color. She looks like literal sunshine. The dress has a very timeless silhouette, and I love the drama of the cape, but how it doesn't feel like it's weighing her down at all. Next is Hailee Steinfeld in Prada. I think that this is her first major red carpet since announcing her pregnancy, and she's definitely embracing the bump. But unfortunately, the look is terrible. The necklace is way too chunky, the color washes her out, and she looks like she's drowning in the skirt. Honestly, might be one of my least favorite looks of the entire evening. Next is Hudson Williams in Giorgio Armani. I just finished watching Heated Rivalry, so I had to talk about my new favorite It Boys. Considering Hudson only just popped onto the scene, I feel like this look is surprisingly well thought out, and I really like the jewelry. It's cool, but still understated. I'm just not sure how I feel about the cummerbund. Something about the size or the placement just makes him look a little bit short and stocky. Next is Connor Storrie in Saint Laurent. Yes, this is just a plain black suit, but he has a certain cool factor that a lot of men in Hollywood don't. So it just looks way better. He even makes me like the sunglasses. Next is Jennifer Lawrence in Givenchy. I was trying to place what this look reminded me of, and then I realized that it's eerily similar to what Suki Waterhouse wore to the 2023 Met Gala. That's not a good or bad thing, just something I noticed. Now, if you know me, you know that I don't love naked dresses, because usually it's less about the design and more about the person wearing it. Obviously, Jennifer Lawrence is a beautiful woman, so she looks good, but how much of that is just her body versus the dress? The one thing that makes this look interesting is the sort of puffed bolero jacket. It adds just the right amount of intrigue and texture and shape. And I really feel like she should have kept it on the entire night. Next is Jennifer Lopez in Jean-Louis Cher. Speaking of naked dresses, J-Lo is basically the queen of them. But hey, I get it. If I looked like that in my 50s, I'd be showing off my body all the time too. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing the same thing over and over and over again, but it has to look good. And this is just kind of boring. Like every single aspect of it, from the brown swirls, the poofy fishtail, just feels very dated and overdone. Next is Jenna Ortega in Dilara Findikoglu. I've been really into the gothic vibes that she's been leaning into lately, so this really ticks a lot of my boxes. There's a lot of fun contradictions going on. The high neck and the fitted skirt feel very stifling and rigid, but then you have these giant cutouts that show all the skin and make it feel a little bit more sexy and vulnerable. Plus, I love how the fringe on the shoulders just adds the perfect amount of softness and movement. Overall, just a very cool look. Next is Emily Blunt in Louis Vuitton. I really don't like this. I feel like they either needed to commit to the sort of puffed, boxy muscle tank look or the more feminine capelet, not both, because they just don't work together at all. Next is Olandria in Christian Siriano. I'm not a Love Island fan, so I don't know much about Olandria, but I do know that people freak out over her figure. And it definitely seems like her team is really leaning into that for her public appearances, hence the very form-fitting dress. I think that for a non-traditional celebrity attending this event, it's a pretty good attempt. There are just certain design elements that I personally don't like. For instance, the really obvious piping on the bodice. Next is Pamela Anderson in Ferragamo. Definitely the sort of thing that I've grown accustomed to seeing her wear these last few years. She really loves a minimal moment. I do feel like the proportions are just a bit off though, which makes it feel almost messy and informal. I feel like maybe the waistband of the skirt needed to be hiked up just a little bit, so that way it would feel more cohesive. Next is Chase Infiniti in Louis Vuitton. I'm speechless. The sculptural bodice is a work of art. And on anyone else, I think it would have been so overpowering. The silhouette is so fun and unique, both out looking gimmicky, and I think it really gives her a cool superstar quality. Next is Teyana Taylor in Schiaparelli. Again, I don't know how many other actresses could have pulled this off. The gown is incredibly chic, but it has this sort of edge and sex appeal that I've come to associate with Teyana's personal style. Something about it, like the faux thong, the hair, the neck scarf, reminds me a lot of what Halle Berry would have worn back in the 2000s, which I do think is really fitting considering people are saying they're gonna have a very similar awards trajectory. Next is Parkey Posey in Rodarte. I'm sure that for some people this will be too much, but for me, it's just right. I love how loud the dress is with all the ruffles, and I actually think that the gloves and choker add to that theatricality without coming across as costumey. Next is Timothee Chalamet in Chrome Hearts. He's been wearing a lot of chrome hearts lately, which is definitely meant to be a more cool, modern, subversive styling choice. This toes the line of being just a bit too casual, but I think it works for what he's been doing during this Marty Supreme press run. I also love how the Tims are just a very subtle way of paying homage to New York City street style. Next is Odessa A'zion in Dolce & Gabbana. I know I have a habit of saying that celebrities should be a little bit more edgy with their looks, but for once, I actually think Odessa should have reined it in. She's been going in a sort of alternative direction these last few months, and usually it works. But something about this reads as more Grammys than Golden Globes. Even just toning down the eyeshadow would have helped a lot. Next is Priyanka Chopra in Dior. I don't love these weird silhouettes that Jonathan Anderson has been fooling around with at Dior, and this dress definitely isn't changing my mind about that. The bodice with the sort of sash on the side is very lovely, but the weird ode to a hobble skirt just isn't doing it for me, especially since the change in fabric is so obvious and jarring. Like, it just looks like they stuck two different dresses together. Last is Lisa in Jacquemus. Something about this is very Cher circa 1976 to me. I like how it's breezy and flowy, but still fairly reserved, and the tassels on the sleeves are just so fun. I just wish it had been in a different color so that way it could have stood out a bit more against all the other black dresses on the red carpet. So which celebrity had your favorite look at the Golden Globes? That's it for this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!